Hi guys, welcome back to this video tutorial on a JSF and JDBC project example. In the previous videos, we saw how to show a list of employees in a JSF view and how to delete one of them selected into the list and why to add a new employee to the list, storing it into the database using JDBC API. Now in this last video we will see how to edit an employee selected into the list and update the employee into the database. This is our JSF view with the list of employees retrieved into the database. And now we have to add a new column here before the first column with an edit link that allow us to open a new view where to change values to one or more properties of the selected employee. So to do it, let's open the employees content file, and we can copy and paste the new tag, the tag of the new column. Here we can paste it here before the first column of the data table. The action of this command link is a call to the edit method of the backing bin. This method will return a string which is the name of the new JSF view, where the user will enter the new values of the selected employee. So let's come back to the backing bin to create the edit method. We can copy and paste this one, that is very similar. Let's call the new view update employee. At the moment we set into this method only the return statement with the name of the JSF view where we want to jump to. Now let's create this new JSF view. We can start by copying and modifying then an existing view. Update employee contents and update employee. Now we have to change the name of the file inside the update employee. Okay. Now let's copy and paste the content of this new view. This view is very similar to the add employee view that we saw in the previous videos. This is the tag f column event for the execution of the init method of the backing bin when the JSF view is loaded. Then the ID property has an output text tag because it cannot change here in this view. Then input text for the other properties, except for the company that has a select one menu. The update command button will call the update employee method of the backing bin to update the change to the employee in the database. When this view is open, the values of the employee object will be the same of the employee selected in the list of the employees JSF view. Now we have to create the backing bin of this view. Let's copy and paste the content of this new class. This backing bin is very similar to that one that we saw in the previous videos about the add employee view. Here, this is the employee object that we want to update into the view. Then this is the collection of companies that we will list into the select one menu to assign it to the company property of the employee object. And then here we have the init method that will be executed when this view is loaded, and that set the companies list collection to the values retrieved into the database through this method that uses JDBC. Okay, let's start our application and open the new update view. This is the new column with the edit command button. Now we select one row, and this is the new view to update the employee. As you can see, the employee object at the moment is null. Now we want to see how to pass the selected employee to this view. Let's come back to the backing bin of the employees view. The first step is to inject the second backing bin, the backing bin of the update view, into this backing bin so that we can access to the object defined in that backing bin from within this backing bin. For this purpose, we will use the annotation managed property of JSF. Now let's copy the code of this new annotation and paste it into the backing bin where we want to inject the other backing bin. The injection is made by declaring an object of the class of the backing bean to inject, and to add the annotation manage property before the declaration. Now to use this new object, we have to add the getter and setter. Okay, now we can refer to the backing bean object of the update view using this object here. Now we can complete the edit method of this backing bean. With this statement, we are setting the employee object of the injected backing bean to the value, this value passed from the JSF when the user selects on the list the employee to update. Now let's start again our application. Let's see what is the problem. Okay, and the problem is that this backing bean, the backing employees, has a session scope that is longer than the scope of the backing bean that we want to inject here. So, in fact, this scope is view scoped. So we have to set the scope of the backing edit employee to session scope. Okay, let's try again. Now we can select one row in the table, for example Susan O'Brien, the last one, and we can see that the employee object has the same property values. The last thing to do is the implementation of the update button. First of all, let's create a new method that updates an employee object into the database. Here in this class we have to add this method. Let's copy and paste the code of the method update employee. This method is similar to the other method that we saw in the previous videos for the access to the database with the JDBC API. This is the JDBC driver registration, creation of the connection object, the query to execute, update, the prepared statement. As this object is used, we can see that we in the query there are the parameter instead of the values to be stored into database. Here we are setting the values of the parameter of the query, which are the properties of the employee object passed to this method, then the execution of the query on the database with the execute update method. The integer number returned by execute update is the number of rows affected by this execution. If the number is equal to 0, something is gone wrong. Okay, then we close the prepared statement object and the connection object, and return again the same ID of the updated object. Okay, now we can create this method update employee called in the view. So let's come back to the backing bin of this view. This first thing that this method will do is to update the employee object into the database. So we can use this object and call the update employee method, passing the employee object that has been updated into the view. Then we have to return the name of the view where we want to come back after the update of the employee. That is the employee's view. Okay. In this way, we can use the JSF implicit navigation to jump from the update view to the employee's view. Let's restart the application. Select a row. Now we try to change something. Okay, the new value is here in the list. Now let's try to select the cancel button that was defined in this way with the immediate equal to true to avoid the validation of data into the JSF, and the employees as an action that is the name of the view where we want to come back. So again, okay. So that's all. This was the last video of the video tutorial, and thank you very much for your attention, and bye.